August Brown, too.
Number one.
I wanted adventure. I wanted to go out, learn about a new culture, learn a new language, and bring it back to the United States.
I wanted to join the Peace Corps because I enjoyed traveling a great deal, and also because I wanted to help others.
I was interested in international development work, and I think Peace Corps as a development organization is one of the best in the world.
I felt that there were many more years of teaching in me before I retired to the old folks' home.
I'm a big National Geographic fan, and I've been reading that since I was probably 4 years old, you know? And it was a lure of overseas.
I wanted to get away from the old circles that I was in. I felt a little constrained in school, and so I came here, and here I am.
In the Peace Corps, you can make all the difference in the world.
Buenos días, don Eduardo. ¿Cómo está? I'm Kamala Alexander, a Peace Corps volunteer in Ecuador. I'm a health educator, so I work in the schools, the high school. I have youth groups, I have mothers groups. My role as a Peace Corps volunteer here in this community has been to do whatever the community is doing, to completely integrate myself within the community and become one of them. And that's been the most rewarding part of my work, definitely. Porque sabemos cuando tenemos una persona en la familia tiene gripe en la casa, siempre pasamos a sus hermanos. One of the biggest challenges as a health educator has been to develop games and ways for children to learn. We talk about the subject at hand, and then we play a game to reinforce what they've learned. Anything that has to do with health, I basically do. I've made a lot of friends that I hope to keep for life and by coming back and visiting.
Cursillos, ella no se encuentra, pero después está aquí. De mi parte, yo...
Camila, personally, I want to thank you very much, and I don't want you to leave.
There are jobs, and then there are jobs in the Peace Corps.
I'm a Parks and Wildlife volunteer, so I'm going to be doing a lot of work with the environment here in Mongolia.
Currently, I'm working with pregnant women and children with malnutrition and disease.
I'm living and working in the rainforest in the Amazon with the Shuar ethnic group.
I primarily work with microenterprises, small businesses here.
Mainly I've been working in the schools, doing health education, and then this year I'm planning on working in high schools.
My secondary project has been Little League Baseball. I had students that came to me and asked me if I could teach them baseball. I found out from the Peace Corps office that there are ways of writing letters to companies back in America to request equipment. So I wrote letters to Little League, to some major league teams, and I was granted a donation. The equipment has already arrived, and we're now distributing the equipment to 7 different volunteers who will all start teams in the fall, and then we will play each other throughout 3 different regions.
You're home, you're home!
That's your fun, Josh.
Nice one!
Peace Corps, it's more than a job.
I had a particular workshop one day with what I would consider to be a difficult primary school teacher who was very negative. And as she walked out, I hadn't really reached her, I felt. And as she walked out that day, she stopped. Everyone else had left, and she stopped, and she came back to me. And she looked me in the eye, and she said, Nina, uta retusha, which means, Nina, you will help us.
I live with an Uzbek family. a couple in their 40s with 4 children. They're really lovely people. They treat me as a member of the family. The children say that I'm their second mother, which is nice.
The best part of my experience here, I think, as a volunteer is that I found a second family. They love me very much.
Usually they make me spin for this and get me dizzy and laugh at me. You would make a perfect American grandmother. Please eat is her favorite saying.
We're in a mosque that was built in 1544. And during the Soviet period, it was used as a storehouse for their supplies. But since independence, they've remodeled it, renovated it, taken it back to its original form. And they're not quite finished yet, but they're working on it.
My name is Jason Bennett, and this is my wife, Kelly Bauer. We both graduated from UC Santa Barbara.
And now we're Peace Corps volunteers in Uzbekistan.
It's a great apartment. We have a guest room, which is an enclosed porch. We have air conditioning that doesn't work. We have probably the most reliable phone in the country.
Actually, the only hard part is there aren't the normal cleaning supplies here. And as a wife, most people think that I stay at home and I spend the whole day cleaning. Whereas in reality, I work just as much as Jason does. And so I haven't learned how to clean Uzbek style.
We have an amazing landlord that has no concept of our privacy.
Don't.
She's a great woman. She's like a grandmother, and she comes in a bustle, points out what is good and what is bad, largely with hand gestures.
That's what's so strange. You can come home, you're exhausted after a day of teaching, and your landlord's in your kitchen cooking, and you have no idea why.
Good?
Perfect.
Every day, I go out and we can hear the women call, selling milk in the morning. The bazaar is 2 blocks away, and I go there every day. The bazaar is a wonderful experience of haggling and catching up for the day's events. The bus system is very good here. In addition, we have taxi buses, which run shorter routes.
And you can get on and off wherever you want.
Yes. The great thing about the taxi bus is it requires you to learn, please stop, in at least 3 different languages.
My name is Brian Shondarin. I went to the Virginia Military Institute. I'm originally from a small town called Skinny Alice, New York. And I'm currently an environmental NGO volunteer in Mongolia. We're in Ganden, Choljin, and this is the Temple of the True Believers that we're about to walk in now. I like to come in here and sit down and kind of relax.
The Buddhist scriptures are on the inside of these wheels, and turning them is a way of having your prayers go to heaven, having your feelings felt by God without having to have read the books, because the only ones that can read the books are the lams. So it's kind of like reading the Bible for yourself without having to read it. Your prayers are still heard by turning the wheel. And some people have these in their house going all the time, continually turning.
It's a lot tougher than I expected. It's not easy just to go in there and start working with people like I thought it would be. They're not as receptive as I wanted them to be. But it's definitely made me stronger.
One of the biggest challenges for becoming a Peace Corps volunteer is certainly the assimilation process and the isolation of being in a small community far from people that you know or are accustomed to.
I think it's important that you really think about what you're doing and that it's a commitment, you know. And a lot of people think, wow, Peace Corps, great, you know, it's gonna look great on my resume. They don't really think about really what they want out of the experience.
I came into the Peace Corps as a complete idealist, wanting to teach all the children in my town. But through my experience, I learned that if I could make a difference in the lives of 1 or 2 children, that in essence was what success was.
When I told my family I was joining Peace Corps, they told me I was crazy. But I knew this was for me.
The most difficult thing about being a Peace Corps volunteer is, for me, not having any hot water. Sorry.
You gotta be kind of, what's the word for it? Resourceful too. You gotta have a little bit of MacGyver in you to fix things and get things done.
Before becoming a Peace Corps volunteer, you complete 12 weeks of training conducted in the country in which you will be serving. During training, you not only learn technical skills, the host country language, and important aspects of the host culture, you also have the opportunity to work with other future volunteers who will be serving at the same time as you.
Training's going really well. The language is difficult, but as a group we're all coping together, and it's a good time.
Training in Peace Corps is fantastic. It's almost like going back to school, but it's a lot more fun. I mean, you learn language 3 to 4 hours a day, and the amount that you learn in 3 months absolutely blows your mind.
During training, we were given Mongolian language training, cross-cultural training, and skills training. I felt well prepared by the Peace Corps.
What you take home with you from your time in the Peace Corps, you'll keep forever.
I'm Fidi Glenn. I went to school at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and I now live in Pokwani Village in the northern province of South Africa. When they recruited me, they didn't tell me really how much of an opportunity I would have to help people, to have an impact on people's daily lives and people's professional careers. I've done so much work with children, with adult literacy, with community development. Everything that I thought of how I want to help, you're working in the community, and people really appreciate you so much for every little bitty thing that you do.
Our children are able to write, to read, to be free in everything. We love City very much.
I think they are doing fantastic.
My name is Michelle Chen, and I graduated from Wellesley College, and I'm here in Peace Corps South Africa's first group, working in Makosha Village. We felt that the community was in need of fresh vegetables. We could, as a school, supply that to them. The problem was that by the next day, all of the work had been eaten up by the goats. That was my first indication that we really needed a fence. We have a women's committee that's going to be doing planting and the growing and the selling of the vegetables. And we have parents and members of the community that are just involved in helping to erect the fence. And then we have the school committee itself that's actually involved with putting the project proposal together, managing the project once it's started, and keeping it going.
This fence is going to help us a lot in this school. We, the community of Tomo, are very much happy for what you have done for the school, for the community, and for South Africa as a whole.
That's one of the things I like about Peace Corps is that you're in a community for a substantial period of time, and that helps to build confidence within relationships. But I think that's part of what building friendships is about, is getting to know people over time.
You become a part of the community. You learn to live the lives that they do. You live in the same type of housing that they live in. You eat the same foods that they do. You speak the language and understand the culture, the little things that go into the everyday life.
I can honestly say that Peace Corps has given me the vehicle that I need to actually be the success that I want to be.
Whether you just got out of college, whether you're mid-career, whether you're at the end of your career and prepared to retire, there's a role for you in Peace Corps.
You can't go to a university and learn what you learn in an experience like this.
Being a Peace Corps volunteer, I have acquired skills that I honestly don't believe you could ever acquire in a job in America, staying there and living there. I honestly believe that I could do anything after being a Peace Corps volunteer.
I think almost this should be a requirement for life.
I say go for it. I think it's been a great experience. I think everyone should do it.